All right, so we are doing the recording for assessment four. We are group 16. Our discussion question would be, should the self-driving cars algorithm prioritize the driver's safety, or should it prioritize the pedestrian's safety in emergency situations? We are now going to open the floor for discussion.
Well, I'll break the ice here. I'll go out by saying I believe that it should prioritize the safety of pedestrians versus the safety of the driver.
Okay, and why do you feel it should be that way?
I believe that it is priority over the plenty versus just the singular. I mean, it's like the trolley car system, like I mentioned beforehand. It's the need of the many versus the need of the few. So I would rather save 15 lives than save two lives.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Anybody have an argument against that?
Um, I would say, like, because in the assignment itself, there comes the argument that if a car decides to prioritize the lives of the people on the outside, then people would not want to buy the car, or they would worry about the safety of the car that they're in. Like if it is advertised that that's their purpose, like, oh, why do you only like prioritize the pedestrians? And that's the response that the manufacturer gives. That seems a little off.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think personally, if you tell me that the car is only prioritizing the pedestrian, I would be a little nervous because then what happens to me, the kids, a family? Like, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, my main argument, because I am also for self-driving cars prioritizing the pedestrians, but my main argument was that pedestrians, they don't consent to interacting or even being placed around the danger of self-driving cars, whereas the users of self-driving cars know the risks and they probably sign some kind of waiver or contract or something, and they know what they're getting themselves into. And so it would make more sense that they're the ones who have the consequences if something goes wrong.
Right.
And even in like regular situations, traffic laws tend to favor the pedestrians, such as like pedestrians have the right of way. So it just makes more sense.
You know what? I didn't even think about that. That actually is a very good point. That traffic laws do focus on that, not so much the driver.
Mhm.
I think, but I personally think that if you give me both points, like what about in an emergency? Like, how am I gonna be able to control the car? Like, what if the car had different features where it allows me to take control versus it continuously, going on that autopilot mode?
Mm.
Would you reconsider then? I personally would reconsider if it gave me like a stop button, right?
Yeah, I agree. Especially because if there's like some kind of override, it would make me feel more comfortable as like if I am the passenger, if there's a situation where it comes to me or a pedestrian, obviously I would want control over the situation to try to have better for both parties. Um, Another thing that I was thinking of though is like during car crashes, if you're driving and you see someone like immediately come in front of you, your instant response isn't just like plow forward to protect yourself. It's like the instant response is
Sure.
immediately turning the other way
Yeah,
without
get out
even
of the
looking
way.
to see if it endangers yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I did want to mention that you are also safer within the car than you are without outside of the car itself. I know in Teslas, they do have a bunch of safety features and they do prioritize pedestrian over and other cars like Mazda electrics or any other companies. You are actually safer within the car. So even if you were to get into an accident, you would still have other safety features within the car that would prevent you from getting any bodily harm, like airbags, seatbelts, even as silly as it sounds, windshields protect you from actually going straight out the window.
Right.
Whereas pedestrians do not have much. It's just them and a 2-ton vehicle going at them at however fast.
You know what I thought of while you were talking? because, putting ourselves in a scenario like, what if there is a Wi-Fi malfunction? Like, I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie where all the Teslas just started moving around by themselves. I can't
Mm.
remember the name of the movie, but that's kind of like very overwhelming to even think like, what if in one of these emergency situations there's some type of a glitch where it does not allow us to take control, and now both the driver and the pedestrian are not safe. Like, maybe I would reconsider the whole thing, if there wasn't some form of a backup. Um, but just at all, I personally don't like the idea of these cars.
That's
Just
what I was thinking.
bottom
It's
line.
like, so I think that's why I was like holding back. I was like, I just don't think they should exist at all. But yeah, I don't think you can get rid of them. So that's why these are all just great points. It's not like we can just be like, oh, how about we just be rid of them, you know? So yeah, I agree.
So we definitely
I
agree that if it had some form of a stop, or it gives
Mhm.
us the ability to take over in an emergency situation, then we would be pro pedestrian, being the safe one, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely.
Also, I also believe that there'd be it would be more beneficial to the company perhaps if only like the passenger is injured versus an outside party like the pedestrians. Like I feel like that would create a very large legal situation that would just have been easier to deal with internally since the passenger is the one who consented and all that. So
Yeah.
there could be like problems with legality if a pedestrian is involved.
Is there like a form of document that, for example, Tesla customers have to sign that they fully understand the challenges with these type of cars, the possibilities of it, malfunctioning or just going crazy by itself?
I believe there is a consensual release form that they have to sign. I mean, I'm not a Tesla owner, nor will I ever be, but I do believe they have to sign some sort of release form in order to actually use the autopilot feature. Because I know in Teslas the autopilot feature isn't actually you actually have to pay for it. So
Mm.
I believe
Okay.
yeah, I believe within the signing up or to pay for it, you actually have to sign a consent form to state that if anything were to happen, it is completely on you rather than the company in itself. And it's not the pedestrian's fault because how can you blame a pedestrian?
So it's not something that just comes in the car. Like, that's something additional that you would have to add on.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay. So let's go back to the driver. So as a driver, we all just purchased this car. We're super excited. We're having a meeting about it. It's so exciting. So as a driver, how do we feel with this purchase that we made that just focuses on the pedestrian, not so much as us? I'll start off by saying I feel like I get the whole point of, focusing on the people around us and all that. But as the driver, I want to make sure that I have control, of the situation. I don't know if you guys ever been in an accident. I've flown through the window, and it is very scary when you don't have control and you lose control. So for me, I'm kind of leaning towards the driver's safety, but considering the laws that you had discussed and brought up, Rose, I think pedestrian is our way. What do you think, Shane?
I agree. I believe that pedestrian safety is priority number one because, as I aforementioned, there are other safety protocols within the car in and of itself to protect the driver. So we should prioritize the pedestrian over the driver.
Okay, Rose?
I still stand my ground with pedestrians being first. If I were like the driver, of course, I would prefer myself to be protected, but then again, I am the one putting myself in that situation. And if there's anybody in the car with me, I'm also putting them at risk. It's still my decision if it's my vehicle that I decide to go into. So as long as the driver is like completely aware of all the risks, it's same with any car that you get into. it also speaks to the car itself. If you're not sure how the internal safety is, like the airbags or any other safety precautions that the company makes for the car, if you're unsure about that, then you shouldn't also just get in the car. Like it's like a regular car. If you think that the safety precautions in just a regular car is fine, then you like, I don't know. I just feel like pedestrians should be the ones saved in this situation since they are the uninvolved party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Milan, how about you?
Yeah, and I feel like in any situation I would put the pedestrian first. I feel like even in my own car, I am so hyper aware of like people around because people on bikes they can be careless, they could be like not paying attention like ever, especially like so I live on Cimarron, so people are crazy out there with their bikes. But I know that if they're not paying attention and I hit them, it's always going to be my fault. So I'm always,
Yeah.
in every situation, I'm always going to put the pedestrian first. And also in the situation of like Teslas or the self-driving cars, they didn't sign up for you to get in that car, but you did. So I know that if I ever put myself in that car, if I'm not in a safe situation myself, I know that I can only blame myself for that, as long as they're okay, I think I can sleep good at night, even if I'm not okay, if that makes sense, if I ever get into that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't even begin to imagine ever. Yeah, I
Just
don't even
causing
want to
harm to
speak it.
another
Yeah.
person, just yeah,
I still want to be safe though as the driver.
of course, yeah.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. Now that we're talking about it, I don't know. I'm driving with the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, when kids are involved, that's the biggest thing too, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay, so safe to say that we are coming to an agreement that in this case, when it comes to these cars, that the priority should be on the pedestrian. Now, do we feel like there should be a clause somewhere or anything that you might think at the top of your head that you may want to add? Um, Kind of to lean more to giving that reassurance to the driver, right? Because we definitely don't want to get into a vehicle that just focuses on one point. Like, why not both points? You know what I mean? As a good selling point as well.
I think there should be something like paragraph wise within the terms of service that specifies that this car is built to last. It is a safe car to be within. However, if you choose to use the self-driving aspect of it, it will prioritize pedestrian lives over. I think it's if it's written, it's it bypasses all legality because if it's written and you sign it, then it's no longer you can no longer be tried for it. So as long as it's written within somewhere between a contract and actually purchasing the car from a DMV, not DMV, a dealer, then I think it should be all right. I mean, I don't believe there should be anything else besides it being written or maybe a contract involved.
Yeah, and I definitely I went ahead and looked up at Tesla and they do focus on pedestrian safety. There is a written statement on agreement. There's quite a bit of documents that you would have to sign. It says that Model 3 features a pedestrian protection system with an active hood that is designed to reduce head injuries, sorry, to pedestrians and cyclists. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. So a hood that is designed to reduce head injuries. I wonder what that's made of. So I guess when you start breaking down what it really means to have pedestrian safety in a vehicle, it kind of gives you a bigger picture, right? I still don't see nothing about the driver. Guys, can
I
you
think as
tell
long
me?
as like,
I'm a
because
little concerned
if
here.
there's if there's advertising saying that like the safety precautions in the car, such as the airbags and like what the vehicle's made out of and like the seat belts and all that, if that's advertised, then the consumers will see that as the driver, you would still be safe in some sense. It's the same with like dummy tests that people watch. Like you see how safe the driver is. So at that point, it doesn't really matter whether or not the car is self-driving. It just matters on whether or not the car is even built correctly.
Yeah.
And cars that aren't even self-driving also advertise technology that they have that like detects pedestrians and then makes the car stop automatically, where like you can't like you don't really have control over that. Obviously, you choose to put that feature on, but in those situations, the pedestrians are also have like the right of way because if a car's driving and then someone is immediately in front and the car automatically stops, if someone's right behind you, you're the one getting like hit still. And so it just seems like a majority of places still prioritize the pedestrian versus the driver.
All right,
Yeah.
Rose, that's it. You convinced me. Fine. I forgot about the whole tummy test. Because it's true, like, okay, we all have cars, right? Every one of us has a car. All right. Do we really look into the safety of the driver when we purchase these cars? Did we go in depth and really did the research to whether or not this car is even safe for us? I did not.
Oh,
No.
people only pay attention to these things once it like
Once it becomes a
becomes a
problem.
situation such as this. Yeah.
So, not even knowing whether our vehicles were safe or not, we purchased them, you know? So, I guess when you just put this out there and you say, "Hey, this vehicle is pedestrian safe," it just kind of it's like, "Oh, wow, okay, so I'm safe, they're safe, we're all safe. I'm getting this car." And it just becomes a good setting point at this point. Yeah. All right, well, you convinced me. So, I guess we're going with pedestrian. All right. So as we're coming to a close, our group was discussing the self-driving cars algorithm, prioritizing whether it should be the driver or it should be the pedestrian. And is it safe to say that we all agree that the priority should be on the pedestrian safety in an emergency situation rather than it should be on the drivers? Everybody,
Yes.
yes?
Yep,
Yes.
correct.
Awesome. So then that concludes our discussion for assessment 4.
Yay.